Dear Boomers, verse 38 of the Tao Te Ching, the way of true goodness. What is true goodness? And how do we reflect on that from this attitude of the Tao Te Ching? So today we journey into the 38th verse, a reflection on goodness, virtue, and the quiet power of authenticity. The verse reminds us that when goodness becomes something we try to prove, it ceases to be good. Let us begin. But first of all, subscribe to the channel, and a subscription link to the Dear Boomers community will be in the description below. A truly good man is not aware of his goodness, or a woman, and is therefore good. A foolish man tries to be good and is therefore not good. Now, how do we define good? But the Tao assumes that we know what it is. In our world today, goodness is often performed. We display it on screens. We speak of it loudly. We post about it to be seen. But Lao Tzu invites us to something more subtle. A goodness that flows naturally, without the need for approval or acknowledgement. And I don't think most of us know what that is. I mean, most of us don't even know how to live our lives that way. The Tao teaches that true virtue arises not from effort, but from alignment. And when we are in harmony with the Tao, goodness happens through us, not because of us. So it's a way of life, really. And how do we start? Quote, "The master does nothing, yet he leaves nothing undone." We have repeated that several times throughout these lessons. To the modern mind, this sounds impossible. How can one do nothing, yet leave nothing undone? Good question. But Lao Tzu points to a state of being where action arises spontaneously from stillness. The ordinary person struggles and plans and pushes, but the master trusts the flow. When we are centered in the present moment, which is something that is very hard to do, our actions carry a quiet perfection, as if guided by an unseen hand. The Tao whispers, stop forcing life, start flowing with life. And this next section is about the descent of virtue. Quote, "The highest virtue is to act without a sense of self. The highest kindness is to give without condition. And the highest justice is to see without preference." The verse traces the gentle decline that happens when we drift away from the Tao. First, there is pure virtue, effortless, ego-free. When that is lost, we replace it with morality. When morality is lost, we cling to ritual. Very interesting. And ritual, says Lao Tzu, is the, quote, "the husk of true faith, the beginning of chaos." Interesting. So many of our systems, religious, political, and even personal, are built around rituals that once held meaning. But when the inner spirit fades, we cling to the outer form. We bow to the empty shell, and we forget the living truth within. The living truth within is the only truth, yet we completely abandon it in our search for happiness outside of ourselves. So the great master follows his own nature, quote, "and not the trappings of life." This is the heart of Taoist wisdom, to return to one's own nature, to live in accordance with what is real and unadorned. The master does not chase titles, does not measure success in things or the acquisition of things. She moves with quiet confidence, trusting the fruit rather than the fluff, the firm rather than the flimsy, and the true rather than the false. In this space, life becomes simple again. There is no need to pretend, no need to prove, and no need to perform, only to be. Sorry, still suffering a little bit from a cold I had, and so maybe have a little bit of it. It's okay. What does this verse ask of us in our modern lives? It asks us to stop striving to be good and instead to be real. When you act from your true nature, when your kindness is effortless, and when your words are sincere, and when your heart is open, lovingly open, you are already living in the Tao. Let go of self-conscious goodness. Let go of moral performance. Return to the source of your own being. There, the Tao lives quietly. There, goodness is natural. How do we do that? I think we just do it. We do it and we reflect on lessons like this. Some of us do the Course in Miracles. We reflect on those lessons. We have a spiritual practice, perhaps, of prayer, ceaseless prayer. The 38th verse reminds us that goodness is not something we do. It is something we are. And when we stop trying to be anything else, then these things evolve spontaneously. May you walk today with quiet authenticity, acting without effort, loving without condition, and resting in the truth of who you are. And until next time, stay in the flow of the Tao. And I will see you tomorrow.